The elves have come to dislodge the dwarves from their holdings underneath the mountains and take their riches. Who will be victorious in this epic showdown? The elves of the Woodland realm or the dwarves of the Iron Hills? Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back to another Total War Rise of Mordor online battle. Once again, a massive thank you to the guys who sent this battle replay into me. I really do appreciate it, and hopefully I can get some more battles just like this. So this engagement is just a 1 vs 1 normal army siege battle, so definitely on the scope of things it is a lot smaller. However, I think this will provide some really interesting battles because, again, these players are very competitive, the guys who sent this battle replay in, meaning they're very much used to playing like Rome 2 siege battles, so you'll see a lot of that kind of strategy being brought across into these Rise of Mordor engagements, and that's when I think kind of doing these smaller battles are okay when they are a lot more competitive, and we obviously have some beautiful units to be looking at as well. So we'll start off with the Elven battle line as they do slowly push up their siege towers to the Dwarven walls. So the forces of the Woodland realm on the front line, we do have some golden chevroned sword and shield infantry. Also, I'm kind of zoomed in here because I want to show you just how amazing that sergeant sword looks. It's just absolutely spectacular. Really amazing stuff. But these guys are going to be the kind of sword and board infantry you're going to throw in. Much better than your average infantryman in the Rise of Mordor rosters. But still, you know, still an infantryman. Not going to be doing any crazy shock infantry or anything along them lines. Just kind of your sword and board. And these guys are going to go down the battle line. There being a handful of them. Again, all golden chevrons as well by the looks of it, which is going to give the attacking player a big old oomph into the enemy line. As we go further back in the Elven battle line, we do have some of the Elven King Riders and the King himself. I don't think this is Mordor Frandil or anything, but just an Elven King. Moving forward, I mean, these guys again look absolutely spectacular in their silver armor compared to the kind of rest of the theme. You then have some of the Hall Guardians on this left-hand side, a pretty elite halberd unit. Again, just look at the amazing detail in that spear and in the armor as well. And obviously you've got their swords as well. Sheath, I'll be pulling them out once they throw down that halberd. And then finally, it wouldn't be an elven force without some elven archers as well. So a handful of these guys scattered throughout the battle line, and you guys can see. And we even have the general unit as well being a elven archer unit, so this is going to be putting out a lot of missile fire. And they've also got some other infantry kind of scattered throughout the main battle line, Hall Guardians, infantry in the siege towers and stuff. Then for the Dwarven battle line, we do have a handful of these Erebor crossbowmen, which are going to be hammering away at anything that comes a little bit too close, but obviously going to be finding themselves in a little bit of trouble if the archer fire does come in and actually hit them. Over on this left-hand side, we do actually have some Erebor axemen. These are kind of like the standard front line for the dwarves, who hopefully will be getting some new units soon, because the dwarves are definitely a faction that could definitely do with some love. They've kind of got some units and then we've never really touched again, so I think a lot of people would love to see some new units added in for the dwarves. And again, this is one of the general hammer units, a beautiful golden trim that you got from Balrog. Never not going to make that joke whenever I see this unit. Yeah, you got some of these pretty elite units. Again, more axemen. Again, it's just kind of their sword and board standard infantry. We also have some of the non-general variant Grimhammers. We have some Dale cavalry that's going to be situated mercenary in for them. Well, these are merchant caravan mercenaries, but still nonetheless kind of like a Dale horseman. And then we just have some Erebor spearing up on the hill as well. Much looking like their Iron Hills ready to push forward and yeah, take the fight to the enemy. And we also have an artillery piece here led by some siege crews. So the Dwarven roster is pretty small in honesty, but it does make up for that with some pretty deadly play. And I like looking at this battle. Like, obviously they spent the same amount of money, or they spent the allotted amount, as the attackers get 25% more cash in a siege battle. I'm looking at these armies. I feel like the elves just have such a huge advantage in this battle. Their golden chevroned infantry. I think it's going to be pretty hard for the dwarves to like take on this much elite elven infantry, because they will have golden chevrons. But we'll have to see how it does play out. And I mean, this is probably a really good setup right now. So as you can see, the crossbowmen generally can't shoot over your friendly units or through them because they shoot very straight. However, in this situation, as you can see, the elves are pretty elevated, so if these dwarves are given the command, I'm pretty sure they are going to absolutely decimate this infantry line, and this is actually a really smart move. They might be a little bit too close, but right now they should be firing everything they've got into this clump right here. which would be, you know, a really smart move, and that's why I kind of think the player has done this. Maybe just hasn't turned on fire at will. The gate is also being harassed as well further along the line. However, there are no battering rams in this battle, and the elves are just trying to make a little bit of a foothold. I think the dwarves are letting them so that they can countercharge, and then also coming from the flank as well here. Honestly, it's not a bad idea whatsoever. It's always pretty good to get the charge off in the fight. There's also a bit of fighting up on the wall as well, and honestly, something the dwarves could do is they could destroy their own walls if they wanted to. Obviously, the dwarves up on this wall position are basically just here to keep this tower firing for as long as possible, because it can do some serious damage. But I think the main goal of this unit, yeah, is just to hold them in place and try and stop anyone else from coming in. But as I said, like, the dwarves could use the artillery to maybe just like destroy this wall and the elves really get on it and kill like half this unit. I think they desperately do need it. And the balance of power as well, you can see the elves only outnumber them by 200 men, but obviously all that quality put into the chevrons. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this battle does shape out, because on the face of it, it looks pretty brutal. And here you go, you can see the crossbowmen now shooting into this big clump. Actually doing a bit of friendly fire. They need to be focusing down like this big clump up on the hill. Yeah, I think they're struggling to like shoot over, but they should be able to. But yeah, as I said, I think it's really, like, on the surface, I just don't see how the dwarves have enough to win this, but obviously it's only the normal allotted amount. And here we go, beautiful move there by the attackers, seizing the gap in between the ranks and just pushing forward. And a lot of these crossbowsmen are actually killing friendly units here as well. There's like just as many dead dwarfs as there are elves. But yeah, a really nice move there from the attackers, just utilizing that ground, coming through the center and hitting them. And I mean, this is one of the exciting things about the smaller battles, is the fact that every unit is really valuable. Because you don't have 40 of them, you only have 20 of them. You have to actually be really cautious about what you're getting up to, the matchups you put yourself into. So if you guys want to see more of these smaller battles, or you don't mind seeing these smaller battles, do let me know in the comments down below. Really, really do. Because, yeah, I'd love to do more of these smaller battles. They're easier to do, so I can do more of them. Obviously, not completely removing the larger, you know, 2v2s and such, but, you know, I could definitely do more of these 1v1 battles. And they're a bit more of like a tactic replay more than a, you know, more of a cinematic. I feel like the bigger battles are more cinematically pleasing, whereas this is probably better for strategy and a few more tactics when you're kind of got a few lesser units to command and other stuff like that. This is what needs to be happening right now, is the crossbows up on this hill, shooting in pretty heavily against the elven line. And as you can see, they've got a perfect lineup right here. Not all of them can shoot, so it's not like they're firing 120 bolts at a time. You can see they're kind of struggling. There's some are finding their angles, and they are getting in some good shots. Already taking down this blade unit down by almost 50 there, which is not great. Speaking of something not being great, the elves are overrunning the dwarves from this position, and the crossbows are just trying to take down as many of them as possible. I mean, look at that right now. I was saying that these battles aren't as cinematic, but I mean, whew, oh baby, that looks good, right? That really, really does. It also looks really bright on my my other screen. Do I not have my reshader on? I'm not sure if I do. It looks really bright on my second monitor. I don't know why. But hey, I'll take it. I will take it. You can see the hammers reinforcing as well. The hammers kind of just zip-zapping around, reinforcing this section and kind of getting a good charge off. Because for the majority of the time, the hammers are really the deadly units. They're the units that do get stuck in. So look at the fight. The elves pushing in. Huge number advantage they have here, and they're obviously going to be seizing that number advantage in all its glory. And it's always fun having such an eternal grudge match that we do have over on this right hand side as well. Not many of them left. The elven archers have been brought up as well. I wonder what they'll be focusing down. Are they really shooting the men on the wall? I'm surprised that they are focusing them down, because again, I mean, I guess they do have some good shots off on them. So it's really dark as well. Whenever I look at this angle, or the wrong angle, it does always get really bad, and that's not a bad screenshot really at all, is it? Oh, that looks good. We've got more reinforcements moving in. But yeah, a lot of the elven archers obviously trying to just smooth up their way on the wall, which again, as I said, it's not a bad idea. They definitely can use that to their advantage. Okay, as they are shooting them in the back. It's just I feel like a lot of these arrows are probably missing, but the elves do have a large amount of ammunition, so it's not that they're wasting a ton, and there's only so many arrows coming in as well, so just kind of making this a little bit easier in their favor. But we're about to get a big breakthrough right now. The Dwarven line has just broken, and that's going to allow 5 units of these Elven swordsmen to run down the running cowards and take their advantage. You can see the Dwarves now pulling back behind the main battle line, looking to maybe find a better angle. I mean, honestly as well, if they had like a unit of swords here, like a unit of swords set up like here on the wall, and then a unit of crossbows here, they could have been firing down onto this big blob and doing some serious damage. The elves moving in to engage the Dwarven battle line. And here we go. The elves getting pretty deep into that Dwarven shield wall. But the shield wall still remaining strong as the crossbows do fall back. And yeah, this is going to open up a pretty big block of infantry. You can see the crossbows though. Oh, this is amazing for them. Firing just slightly over the shorter Dwarven heads and into the rear of that battle line back there. That is huge. If these guys can consistently do that, that is going to severely kill. That's going to kill so many. It's going to kill hundreds of elves. I'm not sure if they can consistently do that though, if that was just a fluke. Because again, the pathfinding in Attila can be so awkward, to say the least. So we'll have to see just what these guys are capable of. That was an amazing shot right there. Maybe if they reform them, they could do that. Because yeah, that would just kill so many of them. Over on the other side, so, oh, we have the artillery coming in. Not a bad idea. If they could destroy these parts of the wall, this part of the wall is already pretty damaged. Yeah, they could kill a handful of the enemy here. Obviously opening up another breach, which wouldn't be good. But that could be worth it to even up the odds. Also as well, the city is derelict, so the dwarves do have less morale. But again, I like that being the case. I think the morale debuff sucks, but it makes the settlement look so much cooler when it's under siege. It really does. And if you're playing with some friends and you're playing knowing that this is the case, you can tell them not to bring 60 million parts of artillery so they can destroy every piece of a wall. There's a little bit more balanced. And yeah, I think on Siege Escalation 2, which is what this battle is on, which is where the settlement is just absolutely wrecked as the Archer Fire comes in, massacring so many of these dwarfs. I think maybe not giving the attackers any artillery is a fine idea, as there will be plenty of breaches in the wall already, or maybe like one artillery. They can only fire so many shots onto the walls or something along those lines. Like a nice little wall there just to make it a little bit more balanced is not a bad idea, I don't think. Look at all the red arrows as well from the Elven archers just piercing into the backs of the Dwarven armor. And they did actually destroy that part of the wall. Yeah, they did destroy this part of the wall. Oh, they killed a handful of their own general unit though. Lucky the general unit didn't die. He was just a little bit too close to this wall. And Attila has this thing where they just destroy everything when it comes to wall collapsing. This unit can still get off the wall as well. I did take how many casualties? Because I'm pretty sure it was pretty full strength. Can't hover over it for some reason. It won't let me. But even still, I did kill 20, 30 elves, so not bad. Especially when you're killing this many up on the wall. That is just a massacre there on the Dwarven shield line. That is pretty goddamn brutal. It really is, my god. But the main fight is going to be consisting over here, as the enemy just continue to push their way through. Obviously with that Archer Fire as well, they're going to be in a pretty good spot. That Archer Fire aiding just, again, whittling down that HP of the dwarves, piercing their armor here and there. But it doesn't seem like the firing is consistently shooting, so obviously just holding their ammunition for now, waiting until maybe they're a bit further inside the settlement. And here we go. Oh, these are actually axemen. I thought they were halberds. I honestly thought these Hall Guardians were halberds, but I guess they're axe infantry. We'll have to see how they fight, because it says they're very heavy shock infantry. No, they are. I guess it's just like not the halberds, but not like a pike unit as such. They kind of use the halberd a lot more aggressively, I would assume. Because you've got like halberds in 12-12, and then you've got like shock infantry, halberd type weapons that are also a separate force. These guys being brought in, they'll be able to break the Dwarven line pretty happily, I think. And the Elven quality, all having golden chevrons, is going to be really helping out. I don't know if it actually shows how much it does aid to them on that. I mean, their melee attack is up to 49. I don't think we have any units that aren't golden chevrons, so we can't see exactly how much of a difference that makes. With more reinforcements coming in here, they're trying to throw everything they've got on this section of the breach, which I definitely think is a great idea. Also, look at that as well. The dwarves managed to hold and repel the elves. not bad at all. I mean, his -11 morale doesn't affect the Dwarves as much as it does a lot of the other factions, as they do have very high morale. But yeah, look at that. Another unit being forced to come up. And as I said, if this catapult was in range, I would 100% destroy this. When Hall Guardians go on it, killing just 11 or 41 Dwarves, I would 100% destroy this wall if I can get a good shot off on it. Gonna go real nice background. And look at that. The Elven Archers are seeing this through, finishing off what remains of these poor Dwarfs. Like with 300 Spartans holding firm, and just the sea being amidst with arrows. Look at that, yeah. The Hall Guardians are moving in. It might be taking a bit of friendly fire. They are also opening themselves up to these crossbows as well, which is pretty scary. But again, it seems like the Dwarven players are having a hard time really using them. There's so many good targets here as well if they could just shoot over, but I just don't think it's too possible. Yeah, look at that. Even some of the archers hitting these guys as well. So really nice crossfire there by the Elven army. However, they are able to pretty much push through a lot of this. However, the Dwarves aren't in a tight shield wall here, so the Elves are making their way in. And this is like an all or nothing move. I mean, there's still 31 minutes left of the battle, so don't get me wrong, it's still not going to end here, but this is a very aggressive move. He's trying to just bulldoze his way through this gap by sticking 3 units of Elven infantry here and just trying to literally just brunt force your way through the hole. However, as you can see, the Dwarven crossbows are having an absolute field day against these Elven lines. Yeah, they are killing a handful of them, and this could be pretty scary, honestly. These crossbows, 144 kills, 105 kills against elves. That is pretty good, because as you can see, a lot of these units are going to be pretty underwhelming when they do finally get into the settlement and finally break down this unit of Erebor Axes who are fighting so bravely. I mean, how many kills do the Erebor Axes have here who've been holding here for a while? Only 29, really? Maybe they've switched out another unit somewhere else. I mean, no, neither of these guys have that many kills, so I guess that it's just the crossbows. Literally just the crossbows racking up the kills. And look at that as well. The general has gone back up on the wall, probably up here, so he doesn't get shot by missiles. Really smart move, actually. Gives him a bit more protection, obviously, with the defensive stone there. Wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe get a crossbow unit up here as well. And then look at that. The elves are actually giving up on this position, realizing that it is folly to try and do this. And honestly, it might not be a bad idea to get this Dwarven crossbow unit here and bringing it back inside the settlement and up here and just have another unit covering this causeway. Because I imagine also if you had a unit of crossbows here as well, they could fire down onto this section. So I just don't think you need the crossbows here. Oh, look at that as well. Oh, the dwarves have thrown more men up here. I respect that. I respect the dwarves just seeing this tower through and letting it shoot on his opponents, because that's not a bad idea. The elves are slowly going to neutralize this, though, now that they've got more men inside the settlement. And obviously now you're seeing this unit here being taken care of. The crossbows getting hammered by archer fire. They should be able to make it out of there okay and back to the city centre. But yeah, them that archer volley after archer volley is pretty brutal when it comes to the elves. They just have a very deadly form. And look at that, only some around the bottom side are now firing as well. But they pull back another volley. Get ready to unleash that. Did not mean to take a screenshot there. And you've also got some elven cavalry as well moving in through the settlement. Obviously going to be seizing any opportunity they can to break their way into the settlement and obviously push down the enemy. Oh, look at this as well. You got a unit chasing, but dwarves aren't fast enough. Their stumpy legs can't move. And even though they're good over short distances, they will not be able to escape the relenting prowess of the elves. And they can now catch them. And that's going to be pretty brutal for defenders, honestly. Obviously, you've got the merchant cavalry in a position to go and probably countercharge this now. But yeah, look at that. The elves are completely broken up this section and are pushing in. And there you go. The tower has gone down. However, as you can see, that killed an absolute buttload of infantry. You lost a lot more Hall Guardians here, and you know that's an expensive unit, especially Golden Chevrons. So that's going to be pretty brutal. But now we can see the rest of the forces moving in. I mean, honestly, this battle goes on for 28 minutes. I will obviously cut out any slow bits in the battle. Don't worry about that. But yeah, goddamn, the dwarfs do not have much left. And it seems like the elves have given up this position and have just been like, yo, you can have it. We're going to retreat back and hold the city center. And yeah, it's going to be pretty brutal, honestly. They still have crossbow bolts left, but yeah, it's going to be deadly. We do have a good cavalry charge moving off, though. The merchant cavalry going to earn their pay this day by moving in. Again, unfortunately, the routing crossbows getting stuck in their way, but still, probably already killed 3 or 4 of them. Now they're going to pull out of this battle. Again, just trying to keep these towers firing as much as possible. I honestly want to try and hold the enemy here for as long as possible. However, we do have the elves turn up with their cavalry as well. And also as well, I keep on saying that the dwarves seem like they're up against it. Balance of power is not that much in favor of them. You know, it's not like there's like a huge, overwhelming position here. So the dwarfs obviously still have, according to the balance of power, a decent shot at bringing this one back, especially when it comes to choke points. I imagine my ammunition is going to come in big. And again, also, a lot of these units are pretty depleted. You know, they're tired, their morale's dwindling on a lot of these guys. And the dwarfs get to defend some choke points now. Forces are moving back in, and yeah, it's going to be pretty good. So let's go ahead and speed up until they've kind of brought more of their forces inside the position, and then we will also check it out when they are finally attacking this inner layer and the reinforcements have made them their way a bit in, because I'm assuming they're going to take a little bit of time now just to kind of build up and prepare themselves. Look at how stupid that is as well. Right there. These 3 units just died from the towers being destroyed all the way over there. How silly is that? But yeah, anyway, let's jump ahead a little bit. Okay, guys, so I'll bring it back to you guys right now as the battle is kind of obviously still raging on. Actually, no, they've actually engaged the front line, so we can go and play right now. Basically, there was a lot of posturing, a lot of missile fire going back and forth on both sides. The elven archers heavily focusing down these artillery pieces, just trying to stop them from getting as many shots off as they can. And they did a good job. These guys are very low, and now they no longer have any ammo left. And they basically just brought all their forces inside the settlements, and now the elves are throwing themselves against the dwarven battle line. And I guess I can definitely see where the dwarves might actually have the advantage here. They don't have as many men left as the elves, but they still have these defensive positions, and the elves don't have, like, once they're out of ammo, they don't have anything to really whittle down the enemy line. They don't have like a lot of really effective shock infantry, say like the half-orc axes or berserkers or the dwarven grimhammers, you know, the axemen of Logriziath or the Gondor, whatever they're called. So because of that, like, you know, this really does play into the dwarven position of just having enemies come in. And obviously you also have some crossbowmen as well, going to be able to shoot a lot of the enemies moving in further and further. But there's not, as I said, that much ammunition left. The ammunition that is left is still finding its mark and doing some serious damage. But you've got, what, a small, like, probably about 4 or 5 shots left on this unit of archers. And the other side is not looking great. They are looking to take the rest of the settlements so they can move a bit more freely within this and kind of sending these smaller units just to scout and see if there are any enemy cavalry units hiding somewhere. Pretty smart move there, moving them out. But yeah, that's not, you know, I've kind of secured all of this, and they're just going to try and push their way through. The dwarves don't have a lot, but as I said, the elves are starting to look less and less scary now they are as clumped up. And a nice move here as well, utilizing that cavalry just to quickly try and grab this capture point. I mean, obviously it's the main goal of these riders to try and kill these guys, but they're just not being able to keep up with them, and that's kind of forcing them to have to worry about their rear, have to worry about the back of their battle line. They can't leave it undefended, which is a real shame, because there is a gaping hole now in the dwarven line. If they got that cavalry around, they can come flying into the back of this and probably end the battle if they manage to get anything around there. And the longer it takes for the dwarves to realise, the scarier it's going to be. I think this battle comes down to whether or not the dwarves can effectively use their crossbow fire. Because if they can use this crossbow fire, I think the dwarves have this battle on lock. But if they can't, they don't find the right units, I think the elves will just inevitably grind them down. Right now, we are just getting shots fired in. I think they're just going for kills, as many as they can, which is not a bad idea. And this is a general unit as well, so getting kills on him, he's a 100-man unit, so he probably will go down a lot faster. It's not a bad idea. And we are now also seeing the elven general moving around, or the elven cavalry, sorry, moving around. As I said, if they find their way into the back of this, oh, that'd be amazing. And the escort merchants just kind of waiting down. I think that's obviously the first goal for the Elkin riders. Kill this cavalry, and then probably use this gap as to their advantage, come flying through, and maybe try and kill some crossbows. Again, there's probably not the end of the world, because something you can do when the enemy does come into the back of your crossbows, they're still dwarven crossbows, right? So they're still going to hold the line. Oh, they got a good charge off there as well. Oh, they did get a good charge off. But yeah, as I say, the dwarven crossbows can hold the line if they get charged, but they will die eventually. But what you can do when we charge into the back of your line, you just take your other crossbow units and you just crossfire into that engagement, and you end up killing the cavalry very quickly. So the dwarves kind of have that crossfire going on. If you take a look at it really quickly over here, like these guys can just fire in here as the cavalry moves in there. But we are seeing more reinforcements brought up, and honestly this would be a perfect time to push in if they wanted to. The crossbows of infantry moving out. This battle is going to be really close. And there you go, the elves are moving around now, looking to quickly try and seize this gap, take back that capture point as well, giving them a morale bonus. And yeah, look at that, the merchant cavalry, because they got charged upon, got slaughtered by the elf king riders, absolutely massacred. Wait, no, they're still not breaking through this. They're actually going to reinforce a big blob. That's pretty dangerous, because that right flank, oh, they're looking to maybe switch around, bring a unit out to go and defend that point. Yeah, that's actually really smart. Okay, take everyone back. Overlap with the Erebor Grimhammers, bring this spear unit round. Though they might have to send this unit on a full-on, like, hope charge to slow up the elven forces so they can't just pull through and open up a big hole in the battle line. I do really like this move though. Reinforcements rushing over as the elves descend upon them. And thankfully, just in time, reinforcements arrive. The spears and the crossbows make their way over here as more and more men send over. That was good timing. Good timing indeed. And right now the dwarfs are completely assaulted on either side. And if any of these breaches break at any point, the battle is definitely over. However, the dwarfs have now formed up here and are ready to shoot into the side, which is going to be a pretty nice move. Yeah, everything else is taken down. You've got a random unit of elven archers getting killed by artillery crew. That's hilarious. I mean, everything else is committed now for both sides. So this is just a all-out brawl now. Like, this is a slog to the end. Apparently, there's a unit that came back from routing. Or that could actually be kind of useful if they could get back inside the city, which I don't know if they can. But even still, we're going to have a close eye on these crossbows and these engagements. This battle is going to go down to the wire. I'm very surprised though, because as I've been saying throughout the video, this elven force just looks so nasty, but I guess they just don't have that hitting power with their frontline sword and board that a lot of the other factions do. Oh, that's not good. The Dwarven General has been killed over in this far left engagement. That's not good at all. He kind of did make himself pretty deep into enemy lines. I guess he's going on one final rampage. I mean, how many kills do the Grimhammers get? 110 kills. Not bad. Not anything spectacular, but not bad. And there you go. The elves finding their way through this hole. Honestly, that would be amazing if they put their cavalry through that. I don't know where their cavalry is, though. Is it in this engagement here? No, where is it? It's over here. Yeah, they could definitely make their way through this position here. And that's honestly what they should do. But right now, they are very far away from this. I guess they're coming around over here to maybe help out, because that's going to break soon. That'd be game over, though, if they have the unit of cavalry in this position. So I guess that's the battle half the time, is if you don't have the unit there, you're going to be struggling. Look at these elven swords, these master bladesmiths. Taking a few crossbow bolts. You can see them coming in. And that could, that's a lot of damage right there. Every single elf that drops is very important. And could cause a battle, honestly. The elven general was in this unit as well, so he needs to be even more careful. And the dwarfs have repelled the enemy. Not bad. And they're going pretty aggressive. Man, if only we have a cavalry here to silence these guys. Because these spears are not going to break. And think about advanced power is shifting back into the center now. And the elves are down by a lot of men. The dwarves, for the first time in this entire battle, now have the man advantage. Or the elven dwarf advantage? I'm not too sure. Either way, this is looking very, very good for them. And now their defensive positions are holding. And it looks like it's going to be a good defensive win unless this cavalry can come up big. Which honestly, if it was just in the other side of here, oh, it could be so huge. Silencing these crossbows. Able just to go into the back of infantry, routing them. Oh man, it'd be deadly. And even on this side as well, the dwarven line has been sturdy, and the crossbows finishing off any routed men. So now I can basically open up this position if they wanted to. I would assume, oh, these crossbows, this cavalry can't even get here. Oh no, that cavalry I think might literally have cost them the battle, as there are barely any elves still left remaining on this battlefield. at all. If you take a look at it, you can see the cavalry is fastly making its way around here. Obviously, we're on triple speed right now. I just want to see what happens when the cavalry gets over here. Oh, yeah, they immediately get hit by the crossbows, losing a ton of horses. Oh, this has just gone bad to worse for the elves. And there you go, the general for the elves to drop down as well. I mean, again, they're a sturdy foe. It's not like they're going to really care too much about losing their general. Well, they obviously going to care, but it's going to be lot less effective than, say, an orc general dying. And there you go, the cavalry moving in. And trying to help. But again, it's going to be the main focus point for any crossbow fire coming in. And that's going to force the elves actually back. You know, cavalry moving back in, that crossbow fire coming in, and there's just nothing much they can really do. No safe places they can move, and there's hardly any of them left. They have like one unit left. I mean, the dwarves don't have a lot left either, but they still have all this ammunition left, which I think is the real killer. This truly is like a bloodbath down here. Hitting against the shields, rattling off. Yeah, and that cavalry, even though it has managed to get in here, and it's just like it's going to get shot to pieces now as it pulls out, right? This volley's going to go back in, unless they come back in immediately. If these crossbows get a volley off, that just will not be worth it. It seems that they're able to, though. So that was very good. And this elven cavalry, as I said, if it can get in there, can definitely turn the tides of this battle. But this infantry fight is basically over. You can see even the elves are losing against some normal spear guard. But maybe they were already heavily engaged, and that's why they don't have as many men. Because I would imagine, on average, this spear unit should definitely be winning the battle. Sorry, the spear unit should be getting overrun by the elves. We get a super close ending, though, to this engagement, which is always pretty exciting. These dwarves have found themselves surrounded, but that's exactly how they like to be, as it's allowing the crossbows to come in, finish these guys off bit by bit. Cavalry moving in, it's just not enough, and as you can see, the balance of power has heavily switched over in favour of the dwarfs. Yeah, it's basically non-existent balance of power now for the elves, and we can probably, yeah, see a big old rout there. What's even left is this one unit, brave unit left, and the dwarfs are padding their KDA a little bit. Maybe he's got this, but look at that kills, 280 kills against elves. It's not like it's against a bunch of dwarfs. And now the spear guard of Erebor are just going to kind of fall back and allow the crossbow fire to come in. And just finish off the remaining of these elves. Obviously not wanting to get in the way of their crossbow brothers. And yeah, it's going to be pretty deadly right now as they kind of form up here. Just trying to finish these elves off. And then morale is going to drop momentarily. So the dwarfs, God, I'm completely surprised by that. I did not read this battle at all in this engagement. Massive shout out to both players though. This was a very, very, very tough match. And yeah, it was very exciting to watch. So hopefully we'll get more of these. You know, some land battles and stuff would be kind of cool. Which would be very, very cool. So let's take a look at the kills really quickly, because that's what I'm interested in. So yeah, massive shout out to Fight Me and JJJ. I really appreciate the battle replay. So kill-wise, yeah, it's a Dwarven crossbowman. And even the spear guard got over 230 kills, which is insane. I mean, again, the crossbows, really, that's what won them the battle heavily. And for the elves, they had like one unit of Hall Guardians that went in, and the sword infantry did kind of what you expect them to do. But yeah, this cavalry could have gone off, and I think that cavalry could have won them the battle, and unfortunately just couldn't quite get into the right position. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle. If you want to see more Rise of Mordor on the channel, make sure to drop a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.